Hi everyone, I'm Rem from Rem's Family Farm, and if you're here, it means you have questions about homesteading, gardening, and farming, and so on. So if you're new to the homestead life, this is the video you want to start watching, and I will do a little series of video in the upcoming weeks. Stay tuned. First thing you gotta understand is you're not gonna be 100% self-sufficient by the end of tomorrow. It's a long road, there's a lot of stuff to do, but you can start now, and that's what I want you to do. Now, if you're living in a city or in a town where you have no access to land whatsoever, I suggest that you wait for my next video on the subject in this, like the next video in the series. But this one is for someone that wants to start from scratch. If you have land, if you have at least a big enough property to start gardening, because the first thing to do would be to start gardening. So you don't know how to do a garden? I have a few videos already where I explain how to start gardening, but if you're not sure, one of the things you can do is get someone with a tractor around. They usually charge between 50 and 100 bucks. They can go in the fall. The reason I say in the fall is because they won't have time to start growing back from the top of the soil. They'll freeze, and hopefully that will take care of most of the weeds that you could have in the following spring. And then in the spring, you can get the same guy to come for the same cost, and it will till your land, your garden again, and it will take all the weeds that died and turn them into compost, which is another good way to fertilize your soil. If you don't want to spend the $100 or $200 to do that, another way you can do it is simply take cardboards, put them flat on the ground. I'm hopefully going to be able to show a video right here, and put your compost on top of it. The cardboard will eventually decompose, and it will create a great soil for your garden. Garden is definitely the first thing that I would start if I was to start from scratch a new homestead, because after this is set, you have place to grow food for the rest of your life. Now, sometimes you might need to add a little compost, but this will come with the animals a little bit further down the line. So now you have your garden established, you need to decide what kind of food you want to grow. If you're the kind of person that grows potatoes is a good thing to have, but then again, it doesn't really bring much. You'll get maybe 10 pounds of potatoes for every bag that you buy, and a bag is like $7. I just don't think that this is worth it. It's not where I would start anyway. One of the things I would start with would be carrots. Carrots, you can harvest a large amount of carrots from just the one pack of seeds. And if you're like me and you like going all the way, the second year, just keep a few carrots in the ground in the fall, let them come back in the spring, and at the end of the second year, with just the 3 or 4 carrots you would have left in the ground, you can harvest the seeds and have enough seeds for the rest of your life. Another thing to grow would be in the squash category. Zucchinis, pumpkins, squash. If you love those vegetables, they're great to grow, because from one pack you can get about 25 seeds roughly. Sometimes you get more, sometimes you get a little bit less, but with 25 seeds, let's take 25 seeds for example, 25 seeds, you will get at least 20 plants, and on each and every single one of those plants, if you're lucky enough, you should get between 3 to 5 squash minimum. Now, each and every one of those squash is great food. It will provide 2 to 5 pounds of food, and if it's a pumpkin, well, you all know that it can get even bigger than that. And those vegetables will provide a lot of seeds, and you won't have to buy seeds for the rest of your life if you know how to preserve them. A third thing that I would grow if I was to start over again for my homestead is tomatoes. Tomatoes can be used for spaghetti sauce, can be used for pizza sauce. You can use it to make soup. You can use it to make salsa. You can use it in a salad. And once again, the tomatoes provide a lot of seeds that can be used for the following year to grow even more plants. I started my homestead about 3 years ago. I also started by planting a few trees. You don't have to go all out the first year. Just go with what you can do, make a budget, check out what you can have. But the garden is definitely the first thing I would go for. And then the fruit trees. If you don't have any wild apple trees in your area, I suggest you start with apple trees. I think right now you can still get the apple trees for about $50. $50 might take maybe 5 years down the road to get some apples. But with the cost of apples right now, every year, if it goes well, I mean, I've had a bad season last year, but that didn't stop me from getting a few pounds of apples anyway. But if it goes well, you can get anywhere between 50 and 100 pounds of apples on one single tree. And if you look at how much they sell for, you pretty much run into your money right after the first or second year. So to me, that is one of the best investment. Plum trees, pear trees, if you're a little bit more in the warmer zones, peach trees, orange trees, bananas, all those are good trees to have depending on your climate. Now I'm in zone 4B, which is a zone where we have a lot of snow. We get to minus 40s in the winter. Plum trees, apple trees, pear trees are the main ones that we have around here. Cherries, we can have cherry trees. We'll have a few bushes, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. Those berries are also very, very easy to care for, and it will provide tons of food for you. You can make jam, you can eat them for breakfast, for snack. They're pretty good to use. 3 years ago when I started my homestead, I didn't have any of this. Now 3 years later, I'm able to grow about 1,700 pounds of food all by myself. And I mean, if the kids decided to be a little bit more involved, that number would go higher. If my girlfriend didn't have Meniere disease and she could be more involved in the garden, that would also help me also, but they can't. And the kids do what they can, and I don't ask any more from them. But I'm just saying, if they were doing a little bit more, I could probably be like maybe 80 to 90% sustainable from my own food from my own land, which would be pretty amazing, don't you think? So there you go. That's the first thing I would do. Plant some trees, get your garden started, and watch out for my next video about what to do for your homestead. Take care. Bye.